Thank you for coming on into the live and sharing your essence with me in this eternal moment of which we all share an inextricable and inexorable part. Thank you for doing your part, for coming on in each and every day, and we'll do the same without wasting a single second of your time. Bada bing, bada boom, we go into the charts for Bitcoin. So we got a little bit of a dip to the downside and a buyback wick for that daily candle close above the 43,977 daily support level that we have had here for a little mini point of control and rejection here from March 3rd, 2022, February 16th, 2022, and September 30th, 2021, and September 22nd, 2021, and a buyback wick from August 19th, 2021. These are where we decide these levels. We try to find these reactionary zones and then put them into the charts. So that is also where we rejected from here, and are we going to buy back? This is at the 786 level of this diagonal pitch fan that we've had price in for almost over a year. And yeah, let's go into high block capital. We're going to try to phase out high block and try to look at some free alternatives here because they have the same kind of fidelity to the image that we can get for free. So we'll go ahead and look at that. What is the liquidity? Well, people lock that liquidity into the charts to get burnt to a crisp by the market maker for not using a stop loss. And we get to see where those stop losses are and those crispy characters. So let's go look into the liquidity. So down here at 43,324, there is a pool. As we spiked up here just a moment ago in time, there was some longs limited in that bought into the resistance, and now they're coming possibly down to this 50x pool. They took the 100x brethren here.
Fatality.
And just to hold ourselves to the flame of what we said yesterday, just after the live, we had a little bit of a reaction to the downside as predicted. So let's go ahead and look at that. After the live, we're seeing it come down to a level here and take out this pool here at 44. Wait, no, is that 44k? 43 and some change. So let's see what happened with that pool here. We're seeing it come take down this 43,387 pool, and it broke down and took out all those 50xers.
Fatality.
And then recovered immediately with the short pool up here. There was what was the amount there? 315 million, which they came back to and grabbed. So they're wick-whacking both sides as we speak. Are they coming down? There is rumors of a ETF approval, but there's also rumors of this pre-halving retrace too. So the idea of retracing, please look up Rect Capital. Rect Capital has a pretty good analysis on the pre-halving retrace and how deep the retrace could be. 5 months remaining into the April 20, well, actually now 4 months, but that is a counterintuitive thing. So if we do get a rise up, does this come back down again? That is the question. So let's go ahead into the higher time frame pools to take a look at what lurks above and below for BTC. So on the 7-day, you have some 46k liquidity imbalance to the upside for that buy side liquidity. And if you look here, you'll see some at 46,950 is the taper point, basically 47k more above than below on the 7-day. If we go to the monthly also has that sub 39k region, but there is a thick band up above in that 47k, as well as the shorts hedge their bets to the downside. Looking at the 3 month, the 3 month has this little bit of pool down here at 34k. We've been talking about that for some time. Do we see that pre-halving retrace down to that region? No one knows. We were here for it either way. possibly getting one more stab up. On the higher time frame, that sub 24K also has a nice pool percolating below. So we're going to go look at the free version of this in CoinGlass. So CoinGlass says in the last 12 hours you have some long liquidity, $10 million up at 44.5 basically. So that 44.5 range has a little bit more liquidity up there to grab, and this also suggests it here. 124 million up in that 44.5 region, less down below here. Overall you have basically even Steven levels, but looking to go up here on that 12-hour time frame. We go to the 24, you do have more up, slightly more up above than below. And on the 3-day, also 132 million up at 45K. And if we go even higher to the weekly also suggestive of 46K, get it 355 million, nearly over $250 million up there at that 46K mark. And coming to the monthly. All right, and the 3-month. 3-month also similar to what we just saw on High Block. Same with that 34K, and on the yearly, a lot lurking below. All right, so we'll go back to that 24-hour, looking to come up to that 44.6 perhaps, and let's go into the charts. So we had this impulse to the downside. We retraced to the 786. We were talking about a rejection. We got it. We were saying watch out for the cloud. What do we mean by that? Well, if we turn this here, link in the description for more, momentummaster.info. You can scroll down. Recently my Brave is blocking everything. It was very strange. I have to turn the shield off because it blocks everything. I don't know if anyone's experienced that, but it's blocking every single site. Anyway, you turn on everything down with the toggle switches here, or you can read about each component as it comes into prominence, the trend cloud, the baselines, stochastic array, and more dynamic alerts to your phone. But basically we were talking about the trend cloud here. So we were saying the trend cloud was starting to thin, and we were saying we could come back and kiss that cloud. And just after the live, we dropped to the tune of 4.86, but we were looking for a 3.5%, and we got it, and we got that buyback on the cloud. So now we're holding the cloud and looking to possibly bounce up to that pool we were talking about at that 44.5 region. Chill out, Cap. Thank you. Okay, so do we come up and negate this basically one more time, coming to that 44.5 region for one, and a second hit to this little range here. Looks like the cloud on the hourly is in your favor, and let's make our usual descent and then make an analysis decision. Okay, so the first things first, we were looking at to watch out for on any upside path rejection. You have 23 hours for this 3-day candle close. So far the 3-day has been closing above this 236, which is a bullish trend based fib level. You had 1-2 candles come up here. We had that stiff rejection off that 45K region, and we're getting a slow drift up into the shorts. No volume, but it looks like it's trying to induce pain and fear into the shorts one last time perhaps, and that pre-ETF rumor. So stochastic oversold on the 3-day, money flow, RSI, even Steven levels for the most part, but you got money flow flowing above the RSI, possible to get a fatigue and come down. Williams overbought status on the 3-day, suggestive of an eventual pullback. And if you start to make your way down to the daily time frame, the daily time frame buyback wick close above that level, showing some intention to go higher. as it closes above 44K. Okay, so you got the even Steven levels of the KD lines of the stochastic, the money flow beneath the RSI around the 50 level, volume tapering here as we meander looking for either a reaccumulation or distribution leg. This is premium levels for me. I do not buy at this level at all. I'm looking for potential to the downside at some point. And yeah, looking at the 22 getting bought back here on the cloud here. Nothing really noteworthy on that time frame. Going to the 12. The 12-hour time frame had some money flow divergence here hidden on the 12-hour time frame. Higher low, lower low on the money flow, and the RSI starting to suggest that push up. We got that disparity push up on the 12-hour and coming up to that 786 level. Reclaiming the 6-hour cloud here as we are range bound. This is a consolidation phase here. We are basically above the equilibrium level of the cloud and possibly getting into a distribution leg of this. If we go to the 4-hour time frame coming up here, we talked about this disparity here the other day, if I'm not mistaken. We were talking about how this money flow comes beneath the RSI and then it likes to come back to the RSI. There are occasions where the RSI comes down to the money flow, but for the most part, the money flow comes up to the RSI in this disparity idea, and sure enough, it did. Granted, it meandered around and came back to stop people out, but it's higher than it was back at that hidden bullish level on the 4-hour. This type of pattern we've seen many times before, where it spikes down and comes up and comes and does this meandering, and it does this weird dump, this purge, chop suey, and then rise. Where did we see this before? I mean, it's kind of fractal, so we can go back in time and show you where we've seen that multiple times. Where was that? That was basically here. They like purge and then they slowly rise up. Purge and slowly rise. I believe it was also in September. Yeah, this one here. There was a purge over here. The exchanges hit the reset button and purge a bunch of longs after a thing up, and then they do the whole sideways thing, but then they slowly rise after that. So this type of purge and then kind of comes back and recovers and maintains the bullish nature after purging all of the late longers is not something we haven't seen before. It's more recent since the BlackRock ETF approval. It's maybe like a BlackRock algorithm or something, but it comes up, purges, and then maintains the bullishness and comes up. So are we seeing this maintaining the cloud and coming up to that level? The liquidation level suggests that they could come up to that 44.5 region, 134 million up there, more up above than down below. The last daily candle close is very bullish, hammer candle, expecting more upside, especially considering wicks. What's up, Straight Life? Thank you for the comment. So yeah, if we go to the 15 here, 15 opening in the daily range in Asia. So we got that cross down event here. So this cross down is expected to come back down possibly to that 43,417 50x pool. Let's see where that is actually. 43,417. So there's a guy down here possibly that they could come get. This is this guy, $66 million 50xer. They have another brethren down here, 100x long at 43,888. So they could be coming down to this 100xer that opened up into that resistance there. And if they cascade down to him, I would not be surprised. Is there something else to come down to here? Kind of a wick zone from here. So coming back into that candle perhaps. So we play it until it comes back. Asia is known for just dumping it. That's why we had this projection for the dumpage, and then London bought it back. New York dumped and then pumped it. Basically sideways consolidation, looking to possibly come up and break this 786 though. So the 15-minute getting this cross down event of the baselines. Does it come down to that 50x pool, or does it hold? The trend cloud is suggestive of continuing upside here as we head higher. Looking at the hourly time frame, whoa, the hourly cloud has that curvature from yesterday when we are holding it. We do have the baseline cross up of the hourly here contending with that 15-minute. So we're holding the baselines, potentially going higher. That 44.5 region looks like a hop, skip, and a jump away. So coming up to that first seems to be the idea. We do have this hit to the high region. Do we get rejected at this 44.6 level again? That is a flashpoint, an inflection point to watch out for here. Let's go to the total 3 and look at how the alts are holding up. Looks like it's slated for something, as we see the USDT dominance got a bounce up here after some rocket ships. This was on Wednesday. So the rocket ships showing that people getting knocked into USDT. We were getting a nuke on Bitcoin as we drove back from Costco. We missed the short, but the indicator had you at hello, as did this USDT dominance rocket, telling you we could possibly go lower. So watch out for this as we hold the cloud for dominance. Do we get a continuation bounce idea for the USDT dominance holding this range? If it goes up, and the Bitcoin dominance also slated to go up, we meet our target up here at the 2414 region, coming back into a fair value gap in here. Alright, so if we come back above that 0.5 level of this fair value gap, this could be an inversion of that. Otherwise, you're coming into this resistance level for the dominance. We had you at hello with this cross down event here, slash rejection, slash reaction off of the 618. And we're coming up with the dominance saying watch out on your alts, which is why we had certain alts slated to the downside. My man MMA Mark was looking at Beam. We were saying wait for Beam to come back to a region here. We said come back to this region and then we'll be interested, and sure enough it came to that region and popped back up for about, wow, 50. I mean, if you waited till the 786, that was 72% gains, but even in this pocket, 56% gains for Beam. So we were seeing that cloud drop, and we were saying wait for it to get to a discount. Congrats if you took that. And looking back at Matic real quick, Matic coming down here as it respects these Fibonacci levels. These are some bearish trend-based fib levels as the alts retrace back down, and the focus comes to that Bitcoin ETF rumor, as you also have a bearish pre-halving idea to look forward to as well. Don't trust any news you read, trust the TA. That will give you the insinuation of where things want to go. So we're coming back into a level here. If we retrace on this with Matic, then we have basically come to the 786. We retraced that entire thing, so this entire impulse has been negated by that purge there. So coming back to this 618, this could be an inducement, and they're coming back into this liquidity down here at that 68-cent region. This could be a deeper pullback. The way in which it furiously dumped here suggests there's some sort of other thing going on. Let's go ahead and look at the Matic liquidity for my man Steven. Okay. What's up, kiddo? There's a thick band of shorts here. You got, let's zoom in here. 89 cents. We were looking at that region up here, that 91-cent region. So it's at some point coming back to that level would make sense. Let me clean this up and look in the lower time frame. All right, so coming back into that 87-cent liquidity, there's people on both sides. What's up, kiddo? Yeah, Misty's sitting on my lap. 89-cent region, they came back halfway into it and then dumped back down to these longs. Recovery of the wick is one of those things we're looking at here. This recovery of the wick is an imbalance in the charts that looks to want to trade back into that at some point. At 73 cents, we had a nice V-shaped but slowly dripping back down. The volume weighted cloud also getting a rejection off of that cloud and continuing further down 8.8% away. What's up? You could not make it above the cloud on the hourly, so yeah, it looks like it's pretty bearish coming back lower. If we take this is a bearish trend-based fib from this impulse retrace idea of the 236. So we'll just, do we keep that up or do we do another one? We'll keep it up. So this coming back to the level possibly of the 1618.77 region for Matic, coming to sweep this 80-cent region. You do eventually have, they came and took half of this and came back lower, but they couldn't muster the strength to clear the entire range of those, maintaining this bearish super trend. So Matic possibly coming to recover this wick at some stage at the 73-cent mark. So you could be coming on down to this wick as you're rejecting this trend cloud and the super trend. It would be the same thing if it was upside. You would be seeing this hold the cloud and come higher. There's no difference. So seeing it come possibly lower to recover this wick. As the star of the show, Bitcoin starts to take over as the dominance, once again for Bitcoin dominance rising gives alts a pause. So you should be looking at Bitcoin right now because the dominance is increasing, which causes the alts to have, at the bare minimum, just go nowhere, but at most dump furiously. Okay, so that is what we are seeing for that continuation of upside for the Bitcoin dominance, possible rejection on that inflection point. Let's go ahead and look at something different today. We're going to look at a toss. If you want to see the footprints, we're going to look at the footprints for Bitcoin to see if there's any trapped traders on one side or the other. So here we go. Let's pull it up. This is the footprint charts of a toss. You can see our latest upload of a not live video, but pre-recorded. If you want to learn how to read the delta and whatnot, we're going to do this now and switch the time frames. First, let's start on the daily. Generally, I don't use this in this manner, but at least we can see where the most transactions were had. So we can see that there's a large amount of interest generated here at 43.7. A lot of buying. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days of interest in this region. And then in this last day, we had a large buying back here. There was about 6,000 Bitcoin traded in that region here at 43,760. Overall, you had in the last day negative delta, but went up. So there is some negative selling pressure that was not rewarded, but was actually punished. So this ensues that they could squeeze some shorts some more. Similarly, you had down here 24,000 Bitcoin negative delta that came back into that, showing that there's also some potential of some trapped traders inside of here. So you have some large amounts of delta, negative delta in here. If you don't know what negative delta is, once again, watch my latest video to talk about the bid and the ask and who the aggressor is. Knowing who the aggressor is will give you an insinuation about who's getting rewarded and who's getting punished for their aggression. These are the questions you ask yourself as you look at these footprints. You could try this out for 14 days for free if you're interested. The link is in the description. This is the ATOS platform. I don't generally use it on this higher time frame with NASDAQ because there is no need. But Bitcoin takes a little bit longer to percolate, so you have to know where some potential trapped traders are. So here's a aggressive seller at 43,790, 346 Bitcoin here, 272, basically about 200 delta on that. Some aggressive selling up here at 44,144. That one was rewarded. This is in the last 4 hours at the daily close. 452, 300 delta here. Large amount at 44.2. This one, you had one that was a larger player stepping out. They took 800 of their long out. 810 volume traded at 44.3. So you can see where larger players step out of the game too. There's a lot of large sells over here from when we dropped down here. You had some 517, 407. This was on the 4th. Okay, so we're going to go a little bit lower into here and take a look. So it helps when you can look at it on different various candles, because the candles show you who's getting trapped from what period it went down or up. That is important. If you see, for example, this guy bought 17, basically 15 Bitcoin down here, and then they bounced off of that, so that person got rewarded in that moment in time. But if they see a bunch of buys and then it punishes those people, then it assumes that they're absorbing them to go lower. Here's an example where 26 people sold, possibly a short, down into this level at 43,918, and then it started to go up, and then it caused somebody to buy here, and then they came down. So you can see who's buying and who's selling and where, and it gives you more fidelity to the candles themselves. With NASDAQ, I look at it on a 5-minute. I still need to get used to the sparse nature. There's a lot of low volume ranges. Bitcoin is more malleable. It's less liquid than NASDAQ. One 5-minute candle in NASDAQ contains more volume than Bitcoin in a day. So there's this 000, this disinterested portion of the auction is not something you see in NASDAQ. So that's why it sparsely jumps, because it's actually going through the candle, and it's counterintuitive to what volume is about. So let's see, do we see some sort of selling interest get punished here, and then they generate some sellers and then go up to that pool we were talking about? If they go up to that pool after generating some sellers, and then the sellers don't actually get rewarded, then you could be seeing this idea of it coming higher. Generally, they reward the people, the majority lose, so the majority if you see a large amount of sells and then it bounces off of those sells, it's using them for liquidity to the upside. If you see a lot of buyers that enter and it doesn't do anything, then that absorption could take it lower. Anyway, that's something we'll need to look at off stream and try to figure out a segment for that. So as we look at this possible coming back to 43,888 on that 100x, or at bare minimum to come in get this 100x trader, they could bounce off that and then head a little bit higher into, where is that? Head higher. Actually, we can use the other one. It will head possibly higher to that 44.6 region, because there is more liquidity up in that 44.6 area. Does it start to abate there and come back lower at some point? That is the case. Let's go see, what do you think of Coinbase stock? What is the Coinbase stock actually? What's up from Indonesia Invest Experts? Thank you for coming on in. What is the Coinbase stock symbol, the asset tag or whatever? So now it's rewarding the sellers. The sellers had some sell-off, some people bought, they got punished, and now they're coming down into their stops and that character we talked about, and then we look to see some liquidation. So we're getting some negative delta, negative 300 Bitcoin imbalance here in this 5-minute candle. And then if you see a large amount of sells here and then they bounce off of it, they use that as liquidity / trapped shorts. You don't know which, somebody just got hit. So that was a liquidation for 69, because you had 169 aggressive sell right there into 43.9. And that is basically probably that character we were talking about.
Fatality.
And they are possibly coming back into that guy. So let's go ahead and do this really quick. Let's see. Can't get it, can we? Oh, I was trying to get into that actually. But this is where you would do this on NASDAQ. You would see this character get liquidated and you try to bounce off of their liquidation level on the delta. So there was a large amount of negative delta and it got punished from that. It bounced off of that. That's what you would call a delta slingshot. And so you could have taken that delta slingshot play off of the carcass of that guy. So they came back to this $57 million character and they basically liquidated them. And yeah, so does it go lower from here down to that 50x though? You got 43,324 for that $66 million character. So it could continue lower always. We're looking to see it bounce up to that 44.6. And that could have been your low point right there. That 69 Bitcoin imbalance right there. You had one buyer interested, but for the most part they sold and bounced off that carcass and possibly going higher here. You're seeing some 41 Bitcoin interest here. Do they reward this guy or use the fuel to go lower? All right, so interestingly enough, we're just toying around with this idea here, but we're looking to see it come up to that 44.6 at least until the London area. Does it fade from that point and come lower? There is 6.9 million down at 43.7, majority down at 43k, but mostly up at that 44.6 region. So we're looking to see that come up to there. All right, ladies and gents, let's see. Coin. Let's look at coin. The coin. What? It's just called coin? Coinbase. So you had some nukes appear here on the opening of the year, similar to NASDAQ. We shorted NASDAQ into the new year because of the sell-off nukes that we were getting. So you had some nukes coming down. You were exhausted on multiple time frames. That's what this stochastic array on momentummaster.info insinuates. The nukes are the exhaustion on the other side of the equation, and then we double topped and came back down. The curvature of this cloud, even if you came back to it, is this a bearish retest like this and then you come back lower? I don't know. But as we're seeing here at this inflection point on the 6-hour time frame, we are above the baselines. So we could be seeing a little bit of a double bottom here to potentially come up. And if we come up to this, if this 6-hour closes with these baselines beneath them, that's what the baselines here are. If the baselines are beneath the price, you could see a push up here. This schematic is what you could look for a long. So if this comes up to that point, even though it is ultimately bearish, you could get a little bit of a rise here to the tune of, 11% overall. If Bitcoin plays ball. Currently you have the cross-up event of the 4-hour that the baselines are still holding on. So could you see this? You had a large capitulation buyback V-shaped here on this A wave with the 5 time frames oversold. That was your stochastic array here. You had the 5s over here. And then so hourly time frame for coin, it looks like it needs to get above this cloud here on the hourly. Overall, it's not making it above the cloud, so I'm not feeling the bullish nature. The bearish super trend still respected here as you sold off at the super trend level and couldn't make it above the cloud. So there's a little bit of a struggle happening here on the hourly. If Bitcoin gets a little bit of a rise, you could be seeing this come up here. Ultimately, it's in a tight zone that it could come up to this level. I would not be surprised if it came up to this fair value gap zone. So if we look at this region here, from here to here, there is a fair value gap to recover. So we could be coming up to this region, this entire like breaker, or whatever you want to call it, resistance. I just like to call it simply resistance. So if you come up to this resistance range, perhaps for that 11% gain, because you're getting 5 time frames exhausted here on the other side of the equation for it to potentially come up. But ultimately you could be seeing a larger pullback if Bitcoin does do the retrace idea. So it all depends on what Bitcoin, the star of the show, does and how does it react in these higher high regions. What's up, kiddo? Hopefully that made sense. So how does the dominance continue forward? That is the question. Does it allow the alts a little bit of a reprieve to hang out? What do you want to do? Huh? Hi. You want me to change your diaper? Yeah? Okay. I'll do that in a minute. Alright, I gotta get going to my friend's house soon, so basically seeing this hit to the 45.6 or 44.6 region, and possibly seeing how this 786 gets negated. So far it's been respected for that retrace idea. The second one is a charm, so do we see this continue higher or reject off of this 44.5-ish area? And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I got 70K at 163. Nice. Cool, cool, cool. So that was the coin idea you were looking at. Coin. You said at what level? 163. I had got 70K at 163. So you bought at 163 here, basically. So you bought a bunch of coin here. So yeah, I mean, if I had to wager, I would say it would come up to here, at least bearishly retest before coming lower. Not financial advice, of course, but you know, last line in the sand, your last line of defense is here at 144.03. Does it respect that double bottom idea? So you basically have double bottoms. It's Wendy's and McDonald's for days, okay? So the Wendy's, where is that chart? I don't have it here. Weird. So you basically have W's and M's. So you have shallow W's and extended W's and regular W's. So you just look for these double tops and double bottoms and you're pretty good to go. And with Momentum Master, this volumetric cloud will give you signs of hope or despair for your trade and give you some ability to step and pivot out of your idea if it's wrong. So you'd need to see this come with conviction above 155 and hold candles closing above it and break the super trend at 158. So at 158.85, we need to have a candle that closes in a fashion like this, boom. And then if you close a candle like that, then you can be on your way to this level. If you can't get above this 3.2% level, then it could just be setting up for a bearish flag, whatever you want to call it, and rip back down lower. So watch out for that. And that is my story, and I'm sticking to it, folks. Thank you for your time, and thank you for coming on into the live and sharing your essence with me in this eternal moment of which we all share an inextricable and inexorable part. Thank you for doing your part, for coming on in each and every day, and we'll do the same, bringing the fire, the accuracy, the precision, all that fun stuff, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.